MTN, everywhere you go.
MTN together with MTV Base are making dreams come true. We're taking young people from all over Africa and giving them the opportunity to meet their heroes and ask them anything they want. MTV Base meets with MTN, using the leaders of today to inspire the leaders of tomorrow. Before Richard Branson became Sir Richard Branson, he was just an ordinary kid from a small suburb in England called Surrey. He left school at 16 to start a magazine called Student, then later started a record company called Virgin, which went on to sign legends like the Sex Pistols. He then went into aviation and started Virgin Airlines. So one brave decision at a time, Sir Richard Branson began taking over the world. And now that he owns a little piece of it, he's using his power to give back, mainly through his Virgin Unite Foundation. Let's meet the 5 young Africans who got to chat to their hero in person.
My name is Arnold South African Tanker. I'm into community development and I'm from Kumasi, Ghana. On a day-to-day, I work for a charity called Working with Men. I support young fathers under the age of 25, whether it's them getting into education, them finding employment, or their relationship with their partner.
I'm Little Simz. I'm a rapper / recording artist. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Nigeria. Peace. I'm 17 and I've released my first mixtape last year. Now I'm in the process of making my second one. One of my producers, Inflo, he's currently living in LA. He just recently done Jordan Sparks' new single, I Am Woman. It's like an A star times A star equals double A star, yeah.
My name is Sarah Clavel. I'm studying finance and business and I'm from Ivory Coast.
My mom is Moroccan, my dad is French, but he was born in Ivory Coast and raised there most of his life. I was born in Ivory Coast. I moved several times to Togo, Morocco, France, and ultimately here. When I moved to London, it was the first time I stayed in Europe for like more than the holidays. So it was a culture clash, a complete culture clash. I used to be in a school where I was the only white person. And I go to a school where there were, 4 other black people in the whole school. And some of them had never lived in Africa, basically. I want to be like involved, basically. I want to make Ivory Coast the country it was when Houphouët-Boigny was president.
My name is Belinda. I'm a student and a poet, and I come from Zimbabwe. I'm studying politics and international relations. I've always been interested in politics and current affairs since I was quite young. Just before I came here, that's when I started really getting interested in Zimbabwean politics. Around the time I was 11, 12, and there had just been an election, and I remember being really dismayed that the party I wanted to win didn't win. I don't know why I wanted them to win, but it just sort of broke my heart, and it made me want to be active, and I didn't know how, except for studying this and maybe going back and using this degree as a way to sort of help rebuild the country.
I'm Olatunji Masha. I'm a filmmaker and I'm from Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria, Lagos. I write for stage, for theatre, and I write about issues that affect me as a black man and as a Nigerian. And I guess, my story, I want to share it with the world and let people understand what people like me feel and go through. I'm very excited about, the possibility of having my work in the West End or in Broadway, or even like a small community theatre in Nigeria somewhere, and having, my people like really celebrate my work.
Thank you very much. So as I'm sure you guys can tell from the cab, I'm in London this time. We've selected our 5 panelists from all over Africa, and it's almost time to meet Sir Richard Branson.
I want to meet Richard Branson because I think he's a very inspiring man.
He left school when he was 16, he's dyslexic, and he still managed to do a lot for himself because he knew what he wanted and he was passionate about it, and he had enough drive to carry that through.
He's done everything. This guy, like, he sets no limits.
Well, he's obviously crazy and obsessed, but he's now one of the best crazy obsessed person you could meet.
Imagine meeting one of the most influential entrepreneurs in this world and them advising you on business.
So today on MTV Base Meets, we're sitting with a gentleman who's actually been around the world in a hot air balloon, across the English Channel, in a Gibbs Ecuador, ran his first marathon at the age of 60, and he's got a collection called The Elders. He goes by the name of Sir Richard Branson. How's it going, sir?
It's very good. All good. Better to see you lot.
Well, welcome. One question I always like to start off with when I meet people is, what is it like as a kid for Richard Branson?
What was it like as a kid?
Yeah. Or what were you like as a kid?
What was I like as a kid? Well, I used to climb a lot of trees. When I was asked what I wanted to do when I grew up, I said I want to climb trees and rescue cats.
But then you went into business at a very, very young age. In fact, you started a magazine, I think, at 16. Am I correct?
Yeah, I left school when I was 15, 16 to start a magazine.
Yeah.
And the Vietnamese War was going on. There were a lot of things happening in the world that young people didn't agree with. So we thought if we could start a magazine run by young people to campaign on issues we felt strongly about, that it would be a worthwhile thing to do. Didn't have any money, so
how do you go about that? Like, first of all, you're extremely too young. I think you're too young to get any sort of business plan put together.
I literally worked out of the school phone box selling advertising for the magazine in order to fund the magazine, and I managed to persuade enough, people like Coke and other people to give us a few adverts, which helped me fund the magazine. We ran the magazine from a basement. We all got paid the same. There was a lot of free love, and actually nothing's really changed. And the magazine, the young people liked it. It took off. It became very popular, and it paid the bills. And we organised big marches against the Vietnamese War. We marched on the American embassy with Vanessa Redgrave, and we just managed to get thousands of young people together to try to campaign to stop what was a very unnecessary, very horrible war.
I'm passionate about life. I love people, and people inevitably inspire me to write films and make films, so that's what keeps me going. And that's why I find Richard Branson very interesting, because when he started off, he was just, a punk rocker, essentially. He loved life. He found what he enjoyed, and then he used that to spur a massive business. And, he made a success out of himself because he just had that, fighting spirit. How did you start off Virgin Records? What was your motivation back then? And then how did the name come about?
The name came about, I was just sitting, I was 16, 17 years old, sitting around with a bunch of girls, and we were just joking about what we could call the record company, and somebody said, why don't we call it Slip Disc Records, because in those days you had the big vinyl records and they used to keep slipping. And then somebody else said, we're all virgins, why don't you just call it Virgin? And everybody laughed. And so we decided to call it Virgin. We weren't actually planning to start a record company, but a young artist of 15 years old came with his music. He played all the instruments himself.
That's Mike Oldfield back.
Mike Oldfield, exactly. He'd been to every record company and nobody would put it out, and I took him to one or two record companies and nobody would put it out because it didn't have any vocals on it. So we decided to set up our own little record company to put his music out, and it just took off and became a very big record. So we got lucky, and sometimes when you're building businesses you need a bit of luck, and that was our lucky break.
In 2008, while studying at university, came up with an idea to showcase my identity, my roots. And I'm from Ghana, but I didn't find anything out there which kind of represented me in a cool, funky, fresh, creative way. I started MTV Ghana when I was in university, and it was just an idea, just searching for identity whilst I was in the UK to promote the Ghanaian roots, my heritage. And before I knew it, I realised that a lot of other people had the same kind of idea. Let's create a brand that can breed influence, that can give people a voice, and people that share the same dream and passion for us about our country. So we started a business, and since then, we've joined forces and built a team. We're opening up the doors for a lot of young people to volunteer in Ghana and give back and connect them with Ghana. So the strapline is connecting the world with Ghana. Well, as a budding entrepreneur myself with the MTV Ghana business we've started, what kind of advice do you have for other young people out there that want to make their dreams a reality?
I think you got to think. What does entrepreneur mean? Entrepreneur means coming up with an idea that's going to help make a difference to other people's lives. So can you create something that's going to make other people's lives better? So if you come up with an idea that where you really think you can make a difference to other people's lives, you can do it better than it's been done by other people, then I think you have a chance of becoming an entrepreneur and building a business. And then I think just give it a go. I've got a phrase I use a lot: just screw it, let's do it.
Absolutely.
And if you fall flat in your face, pick yourself up again and you try again. And I mean, you won't be a true entrepreneur unless you've had failures and you've tried things that haven't worked. If you keep trying, in the end, I'm sure you'll succeed. You'll learn from trying.
Oh.
And good luck.
MTN, everywhere you go. MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching MTV Base Meets with MTN. And in the room today, we have Sir Richard Branson and 5 amazing young people from all over Africa. It's all about taking the leaders of today and using them to inspire the leaders of tomorrow.
People like me and my generation and the African youth in general, they just have every piece of information available via internet.
Even if you look at what happened in Tunisia and Egypt, it was young people who started, those things go viral, and that helps people recognize and hear voices.
We have everything in our hands, basically. We've got all the tools we need that are necessary to make a change and make an impact.
I think we have a lot of power as we are the youth of today, and it's our future, you know what I'm saying?
I think people are fearless, and they'll strive to do whatever they want to do.
I feel like we're quite strong-headed about what we want, so if we say we're going to pursue this, it's no longer a thing of like, my parents will let me do this. I'm going to do it because I want to.
After the war broke out in Ivory Coast in 2010, people living outside the country felt really powerless. We just couldn't help. We had nothing to do, and it was just the worst feeling ever. Eventually, one of my friends contacted me about this political movement for the opening of humanitarian corridor, and it was organized by this group, a newly formed group on Facebook. So I started getting involved on those Facebook groups, and then I just felt like I wasn't doing enough. So I contacted some of the admin of the groups, and then I asked them, what exactly can I do? What kind of cases can I just deal with, follow up and stuff? So the first big case they gave me was 2,000 Malians stuck in an embassy. There were 2,185 women, 9 pregnant, 1 needed an emergency C-section, 2 dead people, and they were all stuck in the embassy because they were scared of getting out, so they had no food, nothing. Yeah, we managed to get the Red Cross to bring them food. We got the Red Cross to also get rid of the corpse because it was really dangerous. Those groups just really helped in connecting people who felt powerless and actually had something to offer, and properly powerless people who needed help.
I'm from Ivory Coast, so especially after the whole political crisis, all I want is to go back as soon as I finish uni and just help build my country and make it better. But I find that a lot of people of my generation, once they tasted Europe, in a sense, once they find this new world, they just don't want to go back. How do you think we can get the people from our generation to become conscious about the fact that they have to go back?
It's worth noting that Africa's economy as a whole grew by about 5 or 6% last year, whereas Europe only grew by about 1%. So I think Africa's got a real chance of actually becoming a forested country where they've really started taking off. You've got the minerals, you've got the people, you've got the resources, and I think if people like yourself are willing to go back, then you'll have even better people who've maybe been educated and come back with ideas from Europe and America to help. And I think Africa's heading in the right direction now, and I think it's going to become a thriving continent, over the next 10 years.
My dreams are to make interesting film, to be a well-known writer in my industry and my profession. I want to inspire people, just like Richard Branson has, and I just want to make beautiful work. I'm an artist, so I just want to create. I want to know what inspires you, and how does Africa
inspire you?
I think Africa is the African people are magnificent. The African leaders sometimes let their people down very badly. And I think if you have influence, if anybody's in a position to try to influence those leaders to become Mandelas, that is important. It's important to try to get African leaders to be known for being great leaders rather than becoming sort of tyrants.
She spoke English to alienate us. We spoke back in Shona. Voices laced in admiration, fascination. How could one as young as us speak so well? Pearls spilling out of her mouth. I write. I'm a poet. And there's different kinds of poetry. What I do is mostly spoken word and a bit of page poetry. I write a lot about boys. I write a lot about childhood memories because I didn't grow up in London. I was born in Zimbabwe. It's just kind of nostalgic stuff, I guess, because I just kind of miss home a bit. I know that if I was in Zimbabwe and I was to tell my mother that for a career I want to go and write poems, she would look at me like I'm crazy. She would say to me, I'm spending all this money on education and you want to go and write poems when you could be, something else like a doctor or something stable. We didn't realize that private school didn't crown her more intelligent. It just opened her to a wider world, one we only experienced in black and white TV screens. The grass is always greener. So blinded were we with envy we felt to see hers. Where I come from in Zimbabwe, I'm not really sure about other parts of Africa, but if you're creative, nobody sees that as a career path. You can't really say, I'm going to leave my parents' house and go out and be an actress or a dancer. So I was just wondering what advice you would give to people who want to make a career out of their sort of creative talent or whatever.
Well, obviously, first of all, your creation needs to stand out from the crowd, and you've got to be brave and just try to find any opportunity to get up on stage. And because there's just so many people competing for time on television, and you just got to try to get out there and stand out from the crowd.
Yeah.
So I've heard quite a lot of things about the Elders, your foundation. Could you tell us more about it?
I mean, it's incredible that wars still happen. The fact that you get like the war on the Ivory Coast recently, civil war that broke out. And so Peter Gabriel and myself thought maybe we could get the 12 most respected men and women together and create an organisation called the Elders. Nelson Mandela and Graça Machel, his wife, are two of the most respected elders in the world. And so we asked them if they would be the founding elders, and they agreed. And they then asked people like Kofi Annan and President Carter from America and Archbishop Tutu, an incredible group of men and women, if they would become the 12 elders. And they go into conflicts and try to resolve conflicts, and have had considerable success in places like Kenya and other places where civil wars were breaking out.
Can you tell us a little bit about your foundation, Virgin Unite?
Yeah. Virgin Unite is the foundation of Virgin, and we have about 60,000 people who work for Virgin. So the idea is it coordinate those 60,000 people so they can go out and do good in the world. A lot of the work we do is in Africa, and Africa has more than its fair share of problems. That's very much on a localized basis, and then. We've got bigger picture things that Virgin Unite does. The global warming is something that's worrying, and so we've set up a carbon war room to try to coordinate the attack on global warming on a global basis.
Obviously, you've achieved a lot, and you've gotten a lot of fame and a lot of money along the way. So obviously, that can't be what drives you to still do what you're doing right now, because you've still got a lot more projects happening. So what drives you?
I think I'm in a position where I can make a difference now. So a lot of my time spent on setting up not-for-profit organisations, and I also love to have fun. We do a lot of fun things. We're building a spaceship to take people into space. So Virgin Galactic, and in about 12 months' time, we'll start taking people into space. And the idea is to try to, bring the price of people becoming astronauts going to space right as down and down and down as far as possible. So we just love being in a position to try things. We just try to set our targets higher and higher.
Hey, what can I say? way. I'm not the same Little Simz back in 08. I'm in my own stratosphere and I hope I make it clear. Don't compare me to the artists that are all the same. I ain't scared of a change. Nigerian music definitely has a say in the type of music I put out. The beats I get have a sort of African feel. I try and listen to different artists, especially African artists and American artists, to try and incorporate that into my own sound. And yeah, I would love to work with a lot of African artists. I like P-Square, I like the Bands. I'd want to work with Two-Face, 100%. On the subject of music, I just want to touch on, do you at all listen to any African artists?
I love listening to African music. You know, like people, I mean, Usador I know quite well. Anyway, Africa's rich with music. I'd love to hear your music sometime. What kind of music are you doing?
I do like rap, hip-hop.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do a lot more. I'm just experimental. Yeah.
Is it going well?
Yeah, it is.
It's difficult. I mean, the music business is difficult today. I mean, just to get. Have you managed to get a record company or not?
Not at the moment, no.
Well, sadly, we don't actually have a record company at the moment, but maybe we'll set one up just around here.
Go fully digital. I was just wondering if maybe, because you worked with a lot of musicians in your younger days, did you ever think of doing music yourself?
You wouldn't want to hear me.
Even if just recording a song or playing the guitar or somebody.
Yeah, I've bred a musician, but I wasn't good myself. No, my son's a really good musician. Actually, we'll get you two together. Okay. 25, good looking, you know. We'll have virgin dating on start as well. You know.
I know that you on Twitter, whose idea was it to open up a Twitter account in your household? Was it maybe your son who came up to you and said, "Hey, Dad, try this"?
Yeah, I think it would have been either my son or my daughter originally. And for a while, you know, literally somebody in this office just wrote my Twitter thing. And then actually only a few weeks ago, I thought, you know, so I suddenly found there were 1 million people reading my Twitter account. And I thought I felt a real fraud because, you know, I wasn't actually doing it myself. So about a month ago, I decided, right, you know, I'm going to write everything that goes on Twitter. And I'm going to, you know, find the time to do it because, you know, if you've got 1 million people listening to you, I think it's important that you actually, you know, it's coming from your heart rather than from somebody else's heart. So anyway, if you read my Twitter account from now on, you'll know it's me.
So I guess in closing, the one question I'd have for you is, what can young people do, especially in the community, to just make sure that they initiate change in the rest of the world?
It's a big question.
You're a big guy.
I think, what can young people do to make change in the rest of the world? I think that everybody's just got to do the best that they possibly can do, that they can achieve themselves, and then collectively, by everybody making a difference, you know, the world will end up a better place.
When he walked in the room, he just had a presence, like, wow, that's Richard Branson. Obviously, I didn't say that. I just had to compose myself.
You have this man, this like business mogul, and like he looks at you and you talk to him, and he seems interested by what you're saying. I mean, I don't know if he was pretending or not, and if he was doing a really good job. But he seems really passionate and interested in what he was doing.
He's genuinely somebody who I find inspiring.
I just feel truly, truly inspired. I feel propelled now more than ever to like achieve my dreams.
You just don't find a lot of Richards around.
I thought that you're limitless anyway, but meeting him, getting an opportunity, I'm going to go to the moon with him.
I got his number, I'm going to call him tomorrow.
MTN, everywhere you go.